Okay, it is 7:02, and we are calling this meeting to order. So, hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. So my name is Colin Peros, and I'm gonna have Logan, our neighborhood assistant, take roll call right now.
Oswego. Hack.
Here.
Ige. Kawamoto. Mao.
Here.
Nakayama.
Here.
Onishi. Shiraki. Turban. Paros.
Here.
We don't have quorum at this time, Chair, with 6 of 13 members present. Oh, did I skip McColgan? I'm sorry, McColgan. Yeah, sorry. I noted you down, but yeah, 6 members right now.
Okay. Thank you, Logan. So we'll move on to monthly reports. So is someone here to represent the Honolulu Fire Department? Okay, not seeing any, so we will move on to the Honolulu Police Department. None. Okay, I do see Dominic from the Board of Water Supply.
All right, I'll make this quick. Month of February, there were no main breaks. We have 2 construction projects forthcoming in the valley. So our Waimau Road 8-inch water main, as well as our Palolo Water System Improvements Part 3, neither of which has actually started construction, so both pending. I will keep the board updated on those schedules as they become available. Just a quick general announcement. On March 22nd, the Board of Water Supply, in partnership with other agencies, is observing World Water Day. This is an internationally recognized event that encourages and challenges users worldwide to change the way we use, consume, and manage water in our lives. So if you go to our website, www.boardofwatersupply.com/World Water Day, there are stories and videos on global water crises around the world. There are tips on water conservation in and around your home, as well as informational segments on climate change and the impacts to water resources worldwide. So at this time, I'd be happy to take any questions if there are any on behalf of Board of Water Supply.
Okay, thanks, Dominic. Any questions from board members? Questions from the community? Okay, Dominic, I have one. You mentioned the Palolo water project.
Yes.
Is there a landing page or something we can get more info, or if you want to just do a quick elevator pitch on what that is?
Give me, try and pull up a scope of work here. I'll forward to the board a sort of a project map maybe tomorrow. Let's see if I can.
Okay, Dominic, we can take the info later.
Sure.
You might have heard before.
I'll try and put a link in the chat to a sort of a scope of work.
Okay, and I do see a question from board member Hack.
Yes, are you, is the resurfacing and other work around on Kapiolani Boulevard going to affect water mains there? Because I noticed the prep work looks like they may be going down as this project gets underway.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Usually resurfacing projects don't affect our mains. We keep our mains at a minimum of 3 feet deep. So very rarely do the resurfacing projects hit those kind of depths. I know what you're talking about. I see it in the morning when I drop my kids off. They've started to excavate along the curb gutter area there on Kapiolani, which, because that's usually concrete, that usually goes a little deeper than the asphalt paving portion. which is where our mains would be. Usually for the concrete curb and gutter, they got to remove all of the existing, whereas the asphalt, they'll usually either do a 2 or 4 inch planing, go down 2 to 4 inches and then resurface. So it shouldn't affect water lines.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I do have the scope of work here for the Palolo system, water system improvements part 3. So this is to install a 16-inch main along Palolo Avenue from Carlos Long to Palolo Place, as well as along 10th Avenue from Palolo Place to Mokanui Place. And then 12-inch mains along Palolo Avenue from Kiwila Street to Palolo Place. And then 12-inch mains along Palolo Avenue from Palolo Place to Waiomau Road. There are also some smaller 8-inch mains along Palolo Avenue from Kalhana Street to Carlos Long, as well as Makanui Place from 10th Ave to the end, Polomua Place. And that's the extent of the project. But I
Okay,
can,
thanks.
at the next meeting, I'll bring some scope of work maps. I'll drop some off for the next meeting so people can have those, or I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you. That would be helpful. We have another question from Board Member McColgan.
Hi, Dominic. General question about available water resources. I see a lot of development going on, not so much in Palolo, but maybe mainly in the Kaka'ako area, Alamoana area, just a lot of condo development. How do you balance, or how does the city balance the available resources with development? What happens there?
Yeah, so any new development is assessed, against the available water. We always look at what are its, installed pump capacity, installed, what is the sustainable yield? What's the installed capacity? Where are we in allocated water against our permitted use? And then any noted issues, if there is an area where we know issues, there are issues, that's taken into account. Within the Kaka'ako redevelopment, I know it was a major concern early on, and we actually haven't seen a rise in water use in the Kaka'ako area, even with all of the new high-rise developments. A lot of the new developments are required to install high-efficiency water fixtures, whereas a lot of the infrastructure they're replacing didn't have these type of fixtures in place. And I would suspect a lot of it has to do probably with a pretty low occupancy rate in some of these facilities as well. A lot of the union units sit empty, so we do track the consumption, even after these developments go in, and we have not seen a noticeable rise in demand within the area.
Great, thank you, Dominic.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from board members or the community? Okay, thank you, Dominic.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I do see some representatives from the fire department. Okay. Hi, Palolo Fire Station. So we did see your chat. So when you are able to speak, let us know and we will circle back to you on the agenda. But until then, we will move on to agenda item number 3, resident and community concerns. We're so happy to see people here from the community. So would anyone like to voice any concerns to the community or to the board?
about that?
Oh, and Chair, just before Katie starts, we do have quorum now.
Need a microphone. Oh, you mean they're watching me too? Okay. My name is Katie Fukunaga, and I am a member of the 10th Avenue Waimau Road Private Lane Security Watch Group near the Baha'i Faith Center on 10th Avenue. I attended last month's Palolo Neighborhood Board meeting and shared our concerns of golf balls coming from Manolani Heights between early December until early March. We would like to thank you, Neighborhood Board, for referring our concerns of property damage and possibly body injury to the Honolulu Police Department. This citation was distributed by HPD to Maunalani Circle residents last week, and incidents of golf balls on our properties have not been reported since. But to add insult to injury, Lori, who is the coordinator of the Maunalani Circle Security Watch Group, reported finding a golf ball in her yard. And she lives up there. But she finds it amusing. Right. So we thank you very much again. This warning from HPD is a notice of violation that was sent to the residents of the perimeter above the mountain above our properties. This is a courtesy warning only. The Palolo Neighborhood Board has submitted a complaint of a person hitting golf balls from the Maunalani Heights areas towards 10th Avenue and Waimau Road. We are recommending immediate and appropriate action to stop in order to avoid a citation or arrest. You are being advised this activity is a crime, reckless endangering to the second degree, and criminal property damage. Mahalo for your corporation. So I think it helped because those that are aware of this will be reporting whoever is hitting the balls over. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Katie. So for those who weren't here last month, thanks to Katie's civic engagement, our neighborhood commission office was able to take action and inform the Honolulu Police Department. So thank you, Logan and your team. Any other residents want to share anything with the board or voice any concerns that they have? Yeah, please. Okay.
Aloha, I'm Hoka Akil. I'm a resident on Narcissa Street, and this is
And Nishiki also.
and we have one of the concerns we have is the state property slash water supply slash Department of Land and Natural Resources. And we're talking about the albizia trees. That's what you guys were talking about, I guess. Well, yesterday morning, a huge tree fell down, and we're trying to figure out who is responsible for removal of the debris. Um, we have called the Board of Water Supply. We have called the state. And each one of them have come and said, it not their jurisdiction, and it's an ongoing problem for us that live on Narcissa Street. And we're trying to maintain it so that it doesn't happen. But when we get negative results, who do we turn to? That was one of our concerns about. And yeah, So I think we talked to someone else, right?
Okay, so we also are concerned, there's the electrical power line that goes up the mountain. And I know in the past, Hawaiian Electric has come, the last time was maybe about 5 years ago. I'm not real good about time. And so they cut the nearby albizia trees. The thing is that if any albizia trees or any other trees or whatever should fall on the power line, that'll affect all of us in the valley. So I've been in touch with, we went to this albizia workshop, and Mr. Sayama, Representative Sayama was there, as well as Calvin Say. So I've been in touch with Calvin Say's office. He put me in touch with his aide, his legislative aide. So I believe they're addressing it right now, and they're going to be letting me know about, what progress they've made with, or yeah. So anyway, that's the status right now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I don't know if this was the specific person that was referred to you, but I see Pua online with your hand up if you want to share more.
Thanks, Pua.
Hi, aloha. This is this is Pualani from Councilmember Say's office. I just wanted to give you an update. So today I had calls, I believe with the person that came to
Joanne.
give their concern. Yeah. So I found out that there was a couple of things. So there's two locations. There's Narcissus Place and there's Narcissus Street, where there's albizia situations or albizia problems. The one in Narcissus Place, I called the Department of Environmental Services, and they informed me that apparently the community ended up cutting a lot of the albizia trees, and there's like an excessive amount where it's too much to put in the green bins. So I called the department, and they informed me that if it could be done, one or two things. I would just need a photo of the excessive amount of wood that was cut from and was cleared from that area on Narcissus Place, and then they would come out and assess the situation. If they can take it away, like as if it's a bulk situations, they will come and take it away. The other option is that if the trees or the branches are small enough that you can put in in a waste basket, and you can actually dispose of it in the gray bins, if they're small enough to put in there. But you can't put it in just like that, like how you would put in the green bin. You would actually have to put it in a bag, because what the environmental services will do is they will actually take it out, and then they would process it as if it was a green. So that's one thing that I actually worked on today. So I have two investigative reports. So two risers that I put in, one for the Narcissus Place for the excess amount of wood, and the second one, which is where at Narcissus Street, the concrete alleyway, where I mean not alleyway, but it's almost like a gulch that has, that's all concreted out, right? So that's the part where the albizia tree is actually hanging in. I have the Department of Facility Maintenance, I sent a riser to actually have that. Hopefully they can assess it and take care of it. So that's what the updates are as of today. Follow. Chair, if you're, I can't hear your mic. I'm sorry. I think you're muted.
Okay, no, it's okay. So we want to just thank you for that, the answer you just provided, and that satisfies their concern of the fallen tree. But
Okay.
they do have another concern of the long-term maintenance of the trees surrounding the power lines and that property.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna find out. Because apparently it could be a HECO thing. It also could be where I know that in the past I was told that HECO actually only cuts back so that it clears up power lines. But if it's something that's an overgrowth with where it actually infringes on that canal area, then DFM will come out, or the Department of Facility Maintenance. When it gets a little bit overgrowth, then please give Calvin Say's office a call, and then we'll put in a request for that to have it taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm on Gardenia, so I know exactly where you guys are talking about. Any other community members have any concerns they would like the board to do their best to address? Good. Okay. The Palolo Fire Station, are we able to hear your report?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good evening, Palolo Neighborhood Board. My name is Lancho. I'm the acting the captain here this evening for Palolo Fire Station. As far as our neighborhood board report for the fire department, we had 2 activated alarms, 44 medical incidents. We had no nuisance fires or rubbish fires in the community. This month's safety tip regards smoke alarm safety tips. So smoke alarms save lives and are an important part of the home and fire escape plan. Properly install and maintain your smoke alarms and give occupants early warnings to get outside quickly. So checking your batteries every month, changing them annually if needed, and just maintaining proper smoke alarms can really help in your residence. And if anybody has any questions for the fire department.
Thank you, Captain. Any
Captain.
questions from board members? Yep, board member.
Aloha. I have a question. A couple weeks ago, there was I think there was a small fire of fireworks on 10th Avenue. And so I wondered what had occurred, if it was fireworks or what might have caused it. It was on the Mauka side of 10th Avenue.
Oh, hey,
Sorry, Captain, you're actually muted. I had to mute you. We were catching some feedback.
Okay, sorry. So I'm normally a captain at Kakako Fire Station, so I can try and look back in the logbook. As far as the reports that was given to me for the incident, it doesn't show any structures or any property was damaged during that incident. If you do have any questions, you can always email our station. We can backtrack the exact date and incident time, and we can always pull up a report and send it to you folks if you need be. But as of the reports, there was no property damage or police reporting on that came in through our report for just the neighborhood board side of it.
So I don't know if we're talking about the same. I'm not sure if we're talking about the same fire, but an official report was requested for the fire on 10th Avenue. So it would be good to get that so we can make it available to the public. Any other questions from board members? Any questions from community members? Oh, you guys are good. Okay. So we'll move on to agenda item number 4, board business. So the first is filling of vacancies. We have only 2 vacancies now, one in sub-district 3 and one in sub-district 4. If you are at all interested in filling a vacancy, then please make those intentions known now, and we can see if you fall within the boundaries of those sub-districts. 3 and 4 are basically the areas closer to Wailai. So I think we're in sub-district 2 at this current location. So I think if you're Makai of the park, that's kind of the boundaries. Anyone interested? Okay, if you are, you can just talk to any one of the people up here at any time tonight. Okay. If not, I will move to agenda item 4B. So this is in regards to board member Onishi. So board member Onishi has been absent for 3 board meetings. And after 3, it basically triggers this agenda item where we consider termination of the service. So I'm not sure if board member Onishi is online. Okay, so I will entertain discussion from the board on this topic.
Thank you. I just want to know if anybody's spoken to this board member Nishi in the last several months. Logan, maybe no contact with.
Not personally. Rusty has been present at a couple meetings. Like they're not 3 consecutive absences. Yeah, but they are basically the way the absences are tracked is you're allowed 3 in a fiscal year. So from July to June. So it's just so it's not consecutive. It's just it's been 3 so far this term or this year.
Hi, this is Darlene Nakayama. Is there a way where someone can just officially follow up with him and then defer the action to the next meeting?
Hi, Darlene, this is Colin. So the official action was taken. The neighborhood commission office does send a letter, a physical
okay.
letter to board member Onishi. I don't know if that is accompanied by an email, but they are notified in some way.
And we haven't heard back from him.
So just to hop in real quick again, Darlene. So that when the 3 absences accrue, my office sends out both a regular mail and also a certified mail with a return receipt. And as of the close of business today, I hadn't received any receipt of that certified mail. So at this time, I'm not sure if he got it in time of the meeting or there's no way for me to follow up other than calling him or one of you guys could reach out.
Can I make a motion that we defer this until the next meeting, until somebody follows up again with him?
Can I say something? So my recommendation would be actually, if there's no board motion to vacate, I recommend just no board action being taken at all. There's already an existing vacancy in Subdistrict 3, and if Rusty's not here tonight, that'll be his 4th, and my office will again send another letter for the 5th absence. So I would just recommend in the interim that we don't need a motion, rather just no board action taken, and then I can give him a call for sure, and then if any board members feel the need to in the interim.
Board member Hack.
Yes, I know that Calvin Say and Rusty went to St. Louis they're together, and a little other organizations with senior members usually do a sunshine kind of thing to look in on members that might not be well or something. I just wanted to put that out there that Calvin went to St. Louis with Rusty. So
Thank you, board member. I'm not sure if that is a sideways way to ask maybe Pua to reach out, but thank you for that knowledge.
thank
Yes,
you.
I
So to
can.
Logan,
I will let boss know that the situation and see if he can reach out to him, because I know that boss wants to know if he's okay too, I'm sure. So I'll let boss know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'll defer to Logan's advice. So I will only entertain a motion to vacate. If not, then we will move on to the next agenda item. Any further discussion from board members?
No.
Okay, good. Seeing none, I'll just take this opportunity to thank all the board members for their service and just know that your commitment to the community is appreciated. So moving on to agenda item 4C. This is the approval of the regular meeting written summaries for video recording for our board meeting in February. So board members, if you did not get a copy, we do have hard copies here. But do we have a motion to approve?
This is Beverly, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. And Board Member McColgan also did the same thing. So I will accept your motion and seconded by Board Member McColgan. So any discussion? Anyone in opposition? Okay, seeing none, the motion is passed. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we'll move on to. Thanks, Vice Chair. We will move on to agenda item number 5. These are the reports from our elected officials. Do we have a representative from Congressman Case's office? Okay, we'll move on to 5B. I see Pool online for Councilmember Say.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Aloha, everyone. This is Pualani from Councilmember Say's office. Councilmember apologized that he couldn't attend the meeting today, so I just wanted to give some updates. I do have some web links in the chat for his monthly report of March. Also, we have the other web links, which is Kauhea Street Stabilization Project. That's just any updates on there. The Alawai Watershed Project, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Complete Streets Annual Report, Homeowners Handbook to Prepare for Natural Hazards. The link is also in the chat. And we also have feral chicken flyer, just in case if there's any feral chickens in Palolo, which I know we do have a lot of, but it's in the chat just for everybody's FYI. There's a couple of announcements. So this week is budget week for the city council for reviewing all the FY 2025 proposed budget. You can go to www.honolulucitycouncil.org /budget for any kind of updates. And then I do have some concerns that I got from the community. Just as an FYI, so we talked about the Albizia narcissus on street and also place. The second one is we had a constituent, Jeffrey Lim, who is the shop manager at at oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. He's a shop manager at the elementary school that has the sign, the Palolo Valley sign. So if you guys do not see the Palolo Valley sign that says welcome to Palolo Valley in back of the McDonald's in Triangle Park, it's because it fell. And so right now it's at the elementary school until the Department of Planning and Permitting can come out to have it repaired. So if you guys don't see it, it's in good hands. The second thing is I had a lot of concerns that called the office in regards to a property that was bought on 3273 Kilihone Street, or Kilihone Place. And just so everybody knows, we are following that property closely in regards to who actually purchased it and what are the plans are. We're trying to be proactive about that property in regards to it not turning into a monster home. So that's what I have at the moment, and I'm open to any questions for Calvin Safe. Mahalo.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate those updates. Any questions from board members? Okay, questions from board members online? Did I miss a hand or? Okay, any questions from community members present? Any community members online? Okay, Pua, so I do have a few questions and I'm
Okay.
just hoping you can help educate the board and maybe the members. So you mentioned that it was the budget week
Mhm.
and we're happy to have, our newest board member, Aswega with us. And board member McColgan was also involved in, some of the efforts to install outdoor court lighting at the Palolo Valley District Park. So can you just walk through what that process would look like and maybe what that engagement would look like for community members? So I can confirm, as Director Thielen stated last month, the outdoor court lighting is currently not in the budget after not having lights for 15 years at the park, but we are working with Councilmember Say's office to help get it into the budget. So if you can just walk us through that process and what it would look like on our end as constituents to advocate for it.
Sure. Okay. So as of right now, I don't have any more information, unfortunately. What we're doing is, I know, just to let you guys know, council members, it is making sure that we have that as a top priority for the Palolo Valley Board and also the community. What we want to do is, I will take back that information and see if there's a process or for us to get that into the CIP project or long-term project. So as of right now, I can take back that information to Councilmember Say and also to our offices to give you a more detailed information. If it's something that I can respond before the next meeting, I will make sure to email yourself, Chair, and also the rest of the board, so you guys are all involved in what's going on with the lighting, because I know that that's something important that you guys are concerned about, and I appreciate all of the community efforts and you guys actually helping the children, have a good time, whether it's gonna be like, hopefully now that, it's gonna be later, the sun's gonna stay out later, which is unfortunate that it's just nature the way that it is. And thank you so much for all the efforts of actually carpooling the children to Kaimoki in order for them to play. But we're hoping that we can get some kind of answer soon. But I'll take that information back to boss's office.
Okay, thank you. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but at some point, the budget bill will be heard in both the budget committee and then as a council. And at that time, it would be good for us to submit testimony, requesting that amendment to be made to include funding for the outdoor court lighting. So it would be at that time where we would want to mobilize as a community to voice our concerns.
Yes, absolutely. And I will make sure that we are all that you guys are all updated on when that's gonna be, so that you guys can rally and make sure that there's testimony that's heard.
Thank you, Paul. Any other questions from board members or community members? Okay, thank you, Paul.
Sure, and I'll
Councilmember
be
Say.
here for the rest of the meeting if you guys have any questions.
Okay, perfect. So we will move on to agenda item 5C. I'm sorry, this is Mayor Blangiardi's representative, and of course we do have Deputy Mamizuka with us today.
Hello and good evening. My name is Warren Mamizuka. I'm the mayor's rep. I'm the deputy director for the Department of Facility Maintenance. And I have this month's responses from last neighborhood board meeting. So number one is HPD, Gulf Falls from Mauna Lani Heights. Yeah, so they heard your your report. They got your report from neighborhood board. So they went out, they spoke with the residents up at Mauna Lani Heights, also Mauna Lani Hospital. And they did ask that if they see anyone, please call 911 right away. since they went up there, they haven't received any phone calls. And from your report, it sounds pretty good, except for that one neighbor. So, I mean, up there, yeah, she found some golf balls. Yeah, she lives up there in that area. So good for you guys, though. Yeah. For HFD, there was an incident report that was requested by Chair Peros. And the response is HFD received that request February 12th, and they informed Neighborhood Board 6 that the report will take approximately 20 business days to process. In lieu of the full report, the HFD provided a press release regarding the incident and was not going to charge the usual public fee for the report. And number 3, outdoor court lighting at Palolo District Park. It was previously reported the estimated cost for the lighting of volleyball, basketball, and tennis courts at the park to be $1.2 million. At the board meeting on 2/14/24, DPR Director Thielen she believed the actual number to be somewhere between 1.2 to 1.6. Chair Peros requested outdoor court lighting options for Palolo Park, including the number of poles, the types of fixtures, and cost estimates. So we really didn't receive any information on that. I'll try to get something next month. But DPR is currently focusing on their CIP budget for FY25, and they also will explore the outdoor court lighting options when funding is in place and what is feasible at the time. And then number 4, it's another DPR response, city department responsibilities. Chair Peros would like to know which department is responsible for the long-term planning, repairs, and maintenance of park facilities. The response, long-term planning for city parks is a responsibility of the Department of Parks and Recreation, DPR. DPR works internally to develop park capital improvement programs, projects based on park needs. Once approved, CIP projects are executed by the Department of Design and Construction. Small repairs and maintenance are done by DPR on a scheduled maintenance and as needed on a repair basis. Number 5, DPR outdoor court lights. Chair Peros requested a list of parks, if any, that have a similar situation to Palolo District Park. The situation is that the outdoor court lights at Palolo District Park were removed 15 years ago and have not been replaced. Response. Listed below are parks that had outdoor lighting which was removed and never replaced in the East Honolulu District. Kaniwai Community Park, the field and tennis court lights removed prior to 2010. Mauna Lani Neighborhood Park, tennis court lights removed within the last 2 years. Palolo Valley District Park, as you know, was 15 years ago. Kapaulono Community Park, part of the outdoor court lights were removed about 2 years ago and haven't been replaced. That's the report for this month. Also, I would like to add the mayor's newsletter for March. Just a few things to highlight. Mayor Blangiardi's town hall meetings will return. We will have 11 town hall meetings throughout the island. So if you're in the neighborhood, I mean, please come by and feel free to ask any question. Yeah. All the directors and deputies will be present. Well, not all, but every department will have representation. So we should have answers to any concern that the community has. Transportation Secretary Pete Butigue visited Oahu, I believe it was like last week. So, this is all about the rail, rapid transit. And so kind of looks good. He, had a lot of good positive things to say about what's going on with HART. Next is the city's first climate adaptation strategy was adopted by City Council. And finally, Mayor Blangiardi commemorates Black History Month in Honolulu. And Logan, can you post a link in the chat room. The one Oahu, yeah. If you let me see. So I think the nearest town hall meeting for Palolo will be at Manoa District Park. I don't see anything else near here. Manoa, that will be April 25th, 6:30 p.m. But you can also go, yeah, I mean, if you're in the neighborhood at any other location, you feel free, yeah. At this time, I'll be taking any questions.
Questions for board members? Yep, board member.
Mahalo. My questions are, you mentioned as far as for the lighting that Palolo was 15 years ago, Kaniwai was 10 years ago or longer, Mauna Lani 2 years, and Kapalama 2 years. So, you know, when the lighting goes out, does the city and county have insurance coverage? Should people be walking around in the park because there's no lighting and something should happen to them? What kind of protection does the county provide? Or, for example, because there's no lighting and say children are out there and something happens to them, or unusual characters are hanging around the park in the dark and something happens because of this lack of lighting, and to watch 15 and 10 years, even 2 years go by, that's a concern, a serious concern. So I'd like to understand if there's any kind of protection that the city provides for the community to make sure these things are going to be done. That's question one. I just can give it to you one time so we don't have to take too long.
I'll try to remember, you know, so, yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
The first one, a little bit easy.
Yeah.
There is or there isn't. Number two is, you know, because it takes so many years and it's still waiting, what is the planning process? You know, that it takes so long, what's the delays due to? And is anybody or who's responsible for improving those types of problems or situations? Thank you.
Okay, for question one, the city is self-insured. Yeah. So if anything happens, you know, please call 911, make a police report. You can also contact the Department of Parks and Recreation. I don't have their phone information or the contact information, but you can contact them through the city website and, you know, do an incident report. And from there, I guess, you know, they'll be contacting you and it'll probably go to corporation council. Yeah. For your second question, the Department of Parks and Rec is in charge of, you know, any CIP project, capital improvement planning. So I'm not familiar with how they decide which parks will get lighting if it was removed. So I think that's something that I'll come back with next week.
Okay, so if they remove it before is it set up so that before they remove anything, that they already have everything in the works to make it get completed in a timely manner? Oh, no.
Not 100% sure how they come up with their
Okay,
projects.
if we could get some kind of
Yeah.
answer from Parks, that would be
Yeah.
good. At least then the community can understand. Because I don't understand. We
Okay.
shouldn't be, you know, if we can't do it for whatever reason, and it takes so long, then that's an issue. It should be like a priority list. We've been waiting, and it needs to get done for the benefit of the community, one.
Yeah.
And two, to understand the process, we can help our community feel safe or understand that the process just to get lighting can take as long as 15 years. Thank you.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you. We'll try and get a response to you next month.
Thank you, Board Member McCullough.
Just to follow up a little bit on that question. So at some point in time, the park was built with lights, and the decision along the way, all those the list of parks that you mentioned, somewhere along the way, somebody decided that the lights are broken and it's not going to be repaired, or the park's not being used very much. So, why expend the money to fix the lights? So, along with the previous question is, who makes a decision whether we're just not going to fix the lights? I mean, the infrastructure there, lights are there, but somebody's made a decision. We're just not going to have lights anymore. Be interesting to know what that process looked like.
Yeah. Well, once again, that's, the Department of Parks and Recreation will actually make that determination, right? They'll work with the Department of Design and Construction. The Department of Facility Maintenance, we actually maintain all of the parks' electrical fixtures, at district parks, comfort stations, and also the ball field lights, the court lights. And, we go there, we will replace lights and whatnot, fixtures. But if we're told, if there was an inspection and that the bolts were corroded and the ball field lights or the court lights were at risk to falling, so we may have gotten a work request to remove the light posts. That's what we do. We rarely ever install, but like in this case, because it was 15, over 15 years, it's not that simple to just go back and reinstall light poles. The new poles may not meet, the foundations may not meet the requirements for the new poles. And also the underground conduit will have to be reinstalled because, the age of the conduit and the wiring will have to be pulled out, yeah.
Thank you. So I appreciate the concerns brought up by board members Kawamoto and McColgan. And I just want to share that, at least in this situation, right, we know that there is both a need and a want for the new lights. So regardless what that process is, I think thanks to the help of PUA and council members say, we do have an avenue to help secure it, those new lights. So encouraged by your inputs. Any other questions from board members? Any questions for the mayor's representative from community members? Yep, please.
Our question is for you. So the problem is the funding. Is it the funding that, and if it is the funding, then what's the plan on how to raise the money for the lights? Because you said it's 1.2 to 1.6 million dollars to replace them. So is there like a plan together to get the money, or what's the waiting period look like, at least for that?
That was the amount given for this report. They suspect it'll be anywhere from 1.2 to 1.6 million dollars to reinstall the ball field lights or the court lights. Right now, we're actually the Department of Parks and Rec. They actually had their budget meeting today. So part of that, they had their CIP budget hearing as well, part of the budget hearing. But if it wasn't in the FY25, I'm hoping either council member Shea will do a council ad, and hopefully that gets through. If not, I'm not sure if the Department of Parks and Rec is actually going to try and get that funded in FY26. So even if it was funded, it does take a few years before the project actually gets started. You have to go through consultation, design, and permitting, and once that is all approved, it could take 2 to 3 years. It is a process that we have to follow. So maybe around the 4th year, I know it sounds long, but that's just part of the procurement process that the state and the city and county has to follow. But I can try and find out if it'll be funded in FY26 to at least get the design started and the planning.
So thank you for the question. We can connect after the meeting because if you're interested to engage, then there will be opportunities in the next couple months. Any other questions from board members or community members?
Yep. So when you have those hearings that deal with the funding, is that open to the public?
Oh yeah, it's open to the public. You can call in, you can by video or in person. Yeah. So
I think maybe it would be helpful that if we can get time on those meetings and dates, we can notify our board and our community that it helps all of us to speak during that time.
yeah. Well, you can always go to the city and council's website on honolulu.gov, and it'll tell you it'll actually have a schedule for the meetings, right? So the meetings will, there'll be a meeting in April and also in May, and then they vote for the approving the budget. So.
But just to clarify, today's meeting was a hearing or that was just a meeting?
Oh, the budget hearing, yeah.
Oh, it was a
budget hearing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are someone from Councilmember Say's office? If Janelle, yeah, if we could be notified of when the hearings have been, maybe the hearing notices have been posted or somehow scheduled.
So today's was just this week is just the info briefing. So each department goes before the council to just share their budget. No action is taken. And then from now, this is when the council members are going to put their amendments in. So we are putting in the amendment to add to the CIP budget for the lights. And then I'll send you the budget calendar that has all the dates of the upcoming special budget meetings.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, especially if there's an opportunity to submit testimony, that would be when we would want to mobilize for that.
Perfect. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Janelle. Any other questions from community members?
Hi, my name is Nia.
Hi, Nia. Thanks for joining us.
I just had a question on if you guys knew anything about the process for the lights at the pool and the funding it took for that, as well as the fences that was built higher. If you guys have any knowledge on the funding and the time it took to plan that whole thing out, because there's 6 lights over a single pool. I just wanted to know.
Okay, so if I'm hearing correctly, just asking about the timeline for the pool lighting as compared to maybe what happened with the park. Okay.
Yeah. Good question. No, don't worry about that. I may have to report on that next month, but normally, if I'm not mistaken, the fence and the pool lighting, that was all part of the CIP project for the district park and the swimming pool. So it could have taken up to 6 years. Yeah. So it takes normally 4 to 6 years to get a project started and completed.
Okay, so once we do get that answer in writing, we will share it. Thank you for the question. Thanks, Nia.
Good job.
Okay, so I know the mayor's report, reported on a bunch of things that I requested. Again, I just want to thank the members for raising the concerns to me. That's where a lot of the requests originated. One of the requests was on the fire that happened on 10th Avenue from board member Kawamoto, and I understand that the fire department does have an update to provide on that report.
Yeah, sorry about that. Not having all the information earlier. So I backtracked just now all the reports for the Palolo Fire Station within the last month. So that incident that I believe you are talking about happened on February 3rd. February 3rd. In regards to the fireworks that you mentioned, the report shows that there were it was a single alarm with 6 engines, 2 ladders, a rescue, and a battalion chief responded to a building fire. The first company that arrived on scene identified that it was a shed in the rear of the property that was on fire with contents inside. So the sparking and fireworks look is probable of the materials that were inside of the shed. Through the investigations, it was determined that it was an accidental fire. Fireworks were not attributed to the incident, and it is an accidental electrical situation. The firework look would be possible from any metals that might have been burning in the shed structure. Typically, magnesium will burn a bright white color. Any copper materials will burn kind of greenish and bright yellowish. So that could have been something that, from a outside view, may have looked like fireworks. If that can kind of clarify some things. As well as in my report, I will send to the battalion chief for the Palolo neighborhood board to get the release of the report for you guys, the press release report. Any other questions about that?
Yes. Yeah. There was a really strong odor that some of the elders that I know that were standing around, it didn't make them comfortable. They felt kind of queasy by it. So that's why I was asking what was the contents instead of in case anyone comes forward from back then that they might have had to go doctor and get checked up on or something to that effect.
Sorry, Captain, you're muted again.
Sorry about that. So in the report, it doesn't have any specified materials or contents exactly in the report within the fire department's report. It just has personal contents as labeled. So when the fire investigator looks at it, they're looking more or less for the cause of fire. As far as contents that might be burning that might emit fumes or smells, they don't typically investigate that type of thing with the initial fire report. Yeah, when we respond to a fire, we're looking for life safety, property conservation, and stabilizing the incident. Once we stabilize it, even for ourselves as firefighters, when everything's kind of burned, it's hard to identify ash and stuff. Those type of things would be some type of chemist would be able to identify, an exact substance or some, in ash, it's hard to determine if that was a piece of wood or a plastic container that burned once it's kind of burned it to ash.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Sorry, I'm only able to upload whatever is on the report, and that's all I can identify at this moment.
No, thank you, Captain.
thank you,
And sorry for
Captain. And sorry for-
Can we mute him? Yeah, so since you mentioned the fire report, I just wanted to go back since he had more info on it. But any last questions for Deputy Mamizuka? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
See you
so
next month.
thank you. We will move on to agenda item 5D. This is Governor Green's representative, Kiele, who I believe is online.
Yes. Aloha and good evening, Chair and members of the board. Kelly Amundsen, representing the governor's office. So last month, the governor partnered with Homemade Hawaii Project Vision Hawaii and the Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center to open the state's second and third kauhale, which is a project aimed to address housing and homelessness in different parts of our communities. One in Kaneohe and the other in Honolulu. Also last month, Governor Green signed an executive order declaring Hawaii a trauma-informed state, which will alleviate some of the impacts of trauma and build resilience in our ohana, our communities, as well as our state workforce. Trauma-informed care is built on 6 principles: safety, trust and transparency, empowerment, collaboration, peer support, and honoring cultural, gender, and historical issues. Just to update you regarding the Palolo siren from last meeting, it was confirmed with me today that the Palolo siren is currently in the procurement phase. Technicians still need to remove and change out the siren head, but the Palolo siren is grouped with 8 other sirens that need repairing and will be operational by July 2025. I'd also like to report that the governor had a press conference on Maui last Friday with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, in which they announced the planned deployment of 80 wildfire sensors and 16 wind sensors across Hawaii. These sensors will allow first responders to get to and suppress an initial blaze before it spreads, and then granting time needed for communities to make evacuation decisions. For more details on what was reported, I linked the governor's newsletter into the chat section. Pending any questions or comments, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Kelly. Any board member questions? Board member Hack? Randy, you're muted.
Kelly, is the 10% cut in other departments to try to balance the budget because of the Maui wildfire situation? Is that still in effect? Because I heard a news story that it was not clear. It's like a 10% across the board in departments, other departments of the state. Is that, could you find out if you don't know now?
Yes, I will find out for you and report at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Board member Hack, so I'll just share what I know about that process. So similar to the city and county budget bill that is going through the legislative process, the same situation is happening on the state side. So the House actually just published their version of the draft. It did not include those 10% reductions.
Oh, good.
And the Senate will, the Senate will soon be taking action. So I'll leave it at that. Any other questions from board members?
Hi, I had a question in regards to the budget for Kamiki High School. I wanted to see if there was any details in funding on the current projected projects and any consideration for like the fielding there at the high school.
I don't have an answer for that this evening, but I can certainly look into that and report back.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Any questions from community members? Okay, I have a few, Kelly. So thank you for the update on the sirens. I know that that was a concern that was raised by multiple board members in our last meeting. I don't know if I heard you correctly, but can you confirm we are in the procurement phase now with the sirens to be operational in July 2025. Did we hear that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you for that confirmation. And I know that in the last meeting, we recognized the time for construction, and I think there was concern about the immediate need to be alerted in the case of a disaster, which could happen at any time. So I'm just wondering if there have been any discussions to address or fill that void pretty much for the next year while the siren is being replaced.
Yes, I did bring up, I think somebody brought up the question of having a temporary siren, but that's, we don't have a temporary siren. But I can take this to our the department that handles the sirens and report back on this as well.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Any other questions from board members or the community? Okay. Hi, Senator Ihara. Thanks for joining us. Did you have a question for the governor's representative?
Yes, regarding the siren, Palolo siren, what have you folks talked about? What would be the worst case for Palolo? So yeah, I assume if it's a hurricane, we'll have a day or a few hours. We'll have time. If it's tsunami, we don't really. I don't think it'll come up to Palolo. I'm not sure what other disasters, but what would be the worst case? Because I'm thinking if you cover the worst case, because I would make us feel a little bit better for in not having a warning siren in our valley. So that might be one approach to deal with that is to identify worst case and what you do to handle the worst case. That we anyway, that's my question.
Well, we would certainly have people tune into their televisions or their AM radios for immediate information. I don't have an answer for what worst case scenario, but I can certainly pose that question to the people at Haima and report back.
Yeah, in particular, if you could make a note about people who do not have internet access, or elderly people who are shut in, or just isolated. Like there are those. I think there's some. For seniors, there is a program, or there used to be a program where you do a phone buddy, where you make a call every once in a while, because the person may not be it's touch and go. If there was like that kind of a list, then at least for worst case, for people who do not have are not in communication with the world, a little bit more shut in type of person, or may have a visitor every one day or every other day, or I'm not sure. But anyway, if you could just make a note, especially in Palolo, where we have more of an elderly population, if you folks can look at that. And thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ihara. We appreciate that insight. So I don't want to steal maybe Representative Sayama or Senator Ihara's thunder, but I believe we do have a question. We do have an answer on your question on Kaimoki, but I will let them answer it if they can. But if not, are there any other questions for the governor's representative? We're good. I can't visually see right now online people, or any questions online. We're good. Okay, we will move on to the next agenda item then. We have Representative Sayama here in person. Thank you.
Hey, good evening, Chair, members of the board, members of the public. Again, Jackson Sayama, Hawaii State House Representative for Palolo. We had a number of announcements, or I guess updates for the board this month. On March 2nd, we had the Albizia community discussion at the Palolo Zen Center with Ko'ola Mountain Watershed Partnership, a nonprofit. It's a very, I think, productive discussion about how to the community can work together to mitigate some of the Albizia risks in Palolo Valley. I think there will be some discussion with the LNR and Board of Water Supply as to how we could coordinate some of these efforts in the future. The second related to cleanups is 808 Cleanups of Bukele Stream, led by 808 Cleanups, the nonprofit. Kimio Nakane, he's been coming to Bukele Stream every third Wednesday of the month from 4 to 6 p.m. And so I joined him last month in February. We had a very productive cleanup. It's truly amazing to see how much trash has been dumped there through the decades. Literally, trees are growing above this trash. So it's a long-term project to really clean that up. But I think in the long run, 808 Cleanups is going to be working with Anuenue to gain some access so that the students could use the stream as a learning environment and opportunity. But I would encourage anyone to go help clean up. You could just park right next to Anuenue on 10th Avenue on the street. And then, yeah, they have all the equipment you need. So yeah, it's really fun. Next, I will be organizing a cleanup at Azama Park. It's a very small kind of de facto park along Waimau Road, very close to the city and county's project. But that will be happening on March 30th from 9 a.m. to 11:30. And we'll be working with the city and counties, Department of Parks and Recreation, and Department of Facility Maintenance to make this happen. We've had a similar cleanup of this park 3 times already last year. So right since Mrs. Azama has passed, we just want to continue her work to upkeep the park for the community use. So please contact me and join us on March 30th, Saturday morning. Let's see. My office has been receiving numerous reports about a property on Palolo Avenue in which squatters have been kind of residing in illegally. We have been working with the residents in the neighborhood as well as trying to get contact with the property owner to come to a resolution. It will likely have to go to court, and I think has encouraged and inspired some more discussion about the landlord-tenant code in Hawaii. So we could work on that in the interim. Next, this is more of a federal side, but the federal government, thanks to the Hawaii delegation and many others, have restored the funding for COFA, the Compact of Free Association, which impacts many residents moving from Micronesia and other Pacific Island nations. The appropriations was 7.1 billion, which would be distributed throughout the United States. So this will be a really big help for our community in Palolo. Regarding the CIP, the improvement projects in Kaimuki High, in the House budget, I haven't taken a look at the Senate budget. The House budget includes $4 million for planning, design, and construction, for campus security upgrades, including a perimeter fence. It includes $875,000 for planning, design, and construction, equipment for softball field improvements. May also include new construction and other equipment upgrades. So I hope that answers your question. We will see how this appropriation changes once we have conference later on this year. Next, some legislative updates. We've just passed a crossover point, so Senate bills have come to the House, House bills have come to the Senate. And we have just started hearings again this week. One notable bill that I think has affected this district significantly would be HB 1630. This is kind of known as the Monster Home Bill. This did pass the House and now is moving to the Senate Housing Committee. But I did vote no on this given the concerns about the city and county having to enforce this new law and their current lack of enforcement of existing laws. So we want to make sure that current enforcement mechanisms are robust and that they are cracking down on illegal monster homes, as they have done successfully actually in Kaimuki on Sierra Drive. So that one has gotten shut down. hopefully one of many, and will be a good example and scare off any potential violators. Other legislative proposals that I have introduced that are still alive and moving relate to mandatory moped insurance, pharmacists special fund to improve and help the UH Pharmacy School with their workforce development projects, and finally eviction mediation. This is a law that basically takes the eviction mediation policies under the COVID emergency proclamations and puts it into statute so that it's less likely that people are becoming homeless because they can't afford their rent. Other major concerning legislations, the House Joint Committee on Agriculture and Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs passed the Senate bill related to adult use recreational marijuana. That will be going into the Consumer and Protection and Commerce Committee next for the House. Other issues relating to state matters are condominium insurance, a little scary issue there, but about a third of Hawaii's residents are in condominiums, which are currently at risk of not being insurable. So the state is trying to fix that. We have the Wildfire Relief Fund, which will address future property damages for wildfires in the state. And then, of course, just as the city is currently struggling with vacancies, the state is trying to address its own vacancies by reforming its, I guess, salaries and benefits to attract more younger workforce. I think that is about it. Appreciate the governor's update about the siren construction. I thought that would be a lot sooner, honestly, but we will work with Haima on that as well. And with that, I am open to questions from the board and the public.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate those updates. Questions from board members?
My question about the monster home bill, when you said you voted no versus yes, what was the content of the bill that you voted no based on that?
So the bill would put a minimum for all counties in the Hawaii, saying that if your property is 2,000 square feet or more and it has the infrastructure, water, sewer, utility, then you could subdivide that property to a minimum of 3 units, right? So take 2,000 square feet, subdivide it to 3 units, you could have 3 properties there, which if might sound familiar because that's what a lot of the monster homes kind of look like. Initially, I voted with reservations because the House did amend it to provide certain guardrails, right? You still have to have the infrastructure. City and county ordinances still apply. But the fundamental concern I have is the city and county is struggling and with enforcing current zoning laws with monster home developments. And to their credit, right, they've improved a lot with DPP, as was the case with the Kaimaki monster home case. But right, they have a workforce shortage. They are spread thin and are working hard. There's no way they could enforce a new state law which may relax zoning ordinances. So that's why I voted no.
So what was the tally at the end of the day in the House? Was it
I don't have that
was it
number off the top of my
majority
head.
no?
Oh no, it did pass the House, so majority yes.
Thank you, Board Member Kawamoto. Board Member Aswaya, did you have a question?
Question. Good. Okay. Thank you for Thank you for addressing the funding. Can you please tell me or help me with the process of assuring that the delegations or what is being funded specifically for the Kamiki High School? I know that you mentioned the fencing, security, as well as softball. How do we go about trying to, I guess, hear specifically where the funds are going to be met or have? Is it open to the public as far as say the fencing? and it's possibly not needed compared to other projects?
Okay. No, great question. So I would kind of start from square one as to how these projects are identified as priced. So Kaimuki High School is represented by Representative Nishimoto. And so Representative Nishimoto would talk to the principal of Kaimuki High, ask them, hey, what are the projects that your school needs? Repairs, new infrastructure, so on. After a conversation with the principal, he would basically, well, he's the capital improvement project chair. So he's in charge of gathering all these requests from representatives and putting it into the budget. So that's how they determine what priorities are necessary. Now the Senate budget bill might have something different for Kamikia High School. Maybe the senator talked with the principal and determined a different set of priorities or projects. Through the conference process, when the House and Senate disagree on the budget, they would come to the table to negotiate, okay, what can we agree on? And so usually CIP projects might change during that process. Like, okay, maybe we don't need the fence and let's just stick with the softball repair and maintenance and put the money in there. So that would be the process. And yes, it is technically open to public discussion. It's in the budget bill. The challenging thing is it's in the budget bill, which is hundreds of pages long. So it's very difficult to find. So I'm more than happy to help you, or if you want to work with Senator Ihara on, what the differences are, how we could help you advocate for those priorities. But again, I think I would emphasize again, the principals are a key component to this because the principals, theory, understand the needs of the school best. And so if the principals say, hey, we need this and this, we listen to them.
Thank you so much for that breakdown.
Of course.
I guess what would be the next step? Say, because I'm familiar with the fact that we just, Kamiki High School just recently had a change of staffing over the year. So I would assume that that would be taken into consideration. Possibly the plans or requests of Kamiki High School has changed because the principal has gone already and there's a new staffing. So I guess I'm just trying to see how the public can be a part of the planning and when.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think there are a few ways to approach this. If you are involved somehow in the Kaimuki High School community and have an opportunity to speak with the principal and the new leadership staff go direct to the source, that's one way, and the principal will communicate those new changes to the representative or senator. Another way to go about it might be just to contact representatives. So, it's not in my district, but Kaimuki High School still affects Palolo. So if you want to come approach me and say, hey, like, is there any possibility we could add another project in here? That's something we could do too. Another, and I don't want to go too long, another factor of how we determine which projects to choose as priorities is whether they're shovel-ready projects, right? Like you heard from the city and county about the lights at Palolo Park. These projects can take a while, from securing the funding, releasing the funding, getting the planning and design, EIS if necessary, and then finally construction. So a shovel-ready project has already gone through most of those steps and is ready for construction. And the Department of Education likes that kind of project because we can move on it now. And so those are the projects that tend to get priority within this budget process. So that's also another factor that I want you to be, I guess, knowledgeable of as you advocate for your projects in Kaimuki High. Of course.
Any other questions from board members? Questions from community members for Representative Sayama? Okay, so just to echo board member Asuega's comments. So I'd love to hear talk about the budget. And one official action that we can take as a board is to pass a resolution to demonstrate our stance on the budget. And Representative Sayama kind of shared a good overview of the process. Really, where we can be involved is when they hold the hearings for these specific bills, whether it be the state budget bill or the city and county budget bill. And during that time, we can submit testimony requesting, specific appropriations. And more importantly, to Representative Sayama's point, we can work with other community members, individual community members like everyone here, or larger organizations like the principal to also submit testimony that aligns with our position. So we can work to, I'm happy to work with you folks to draft something for our April meeting. That will be pretty much the last opportunity for us because they will be deciding that in late April. So you want to? Yep.
I did reach out to the principal, so we'll definitely follow up with each other, the board then. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Samuel. Okay, Senator Ihara, thanks for working so hard. We see you at the Capitol.
Yes, and if you have any questions, I have my computer on, and we are a week from first, second lateral, which means so the bills that crossed over to the other body, they have until end of next week to get it to to actually have it be heard and moved on to the last committee. And then the last committee's final review will take 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks. And so then we'll cross the bills back and then at some point go to a conference committee on the bills. I'm in leadership and I'm I guess filling out part of my role as majority policy leader. I'm working on more of the leadership issues and preparing for the conference committee and we both the House and the Senate have an interest in passing good bills. And I think there's more interest in because of the challenges we face, maybe more collaboration and agreement than in past years. So the mood I think is somewhat positive this year compared to previous years, and so we're I think moving in a good way in spite of the massive challenges we face. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Question from.
Oh, hey, Senator Ihara. So just your question on the monster home bill that Rep. Sayama brought up. I know we've received some community concerns because I think there's this idea and thought that it'll kind of promote additional constructions of multi-unit homes, essentially monster homes. Like, I want to hear your perspective on that bill and also just kind of what you're hearing in the Senate, if you think it's gonna pass and make it to the governor's desk.
I voted, I think it was Senate Bill 3202, something like that. It would allow for 2 additional residential units on every residential lot. I mean, it was quite, I believe it's kind of not a slight overreach, let's put it that way. And I'll be meeting with Hawaii 1,000 Friends and connect with other environmental groups. We want to support affordable housing is really critically needed. We don't need to trash our communities while we do it. And so I think we need to be creative and maybe bring the community interests to negotiate with those who want to build houses, which we do need to. We do really need to do that. But I believe that the bill that Representative Sayama and I voted against, I don't think it'll pass personally. We got it. It was more of a last minute, and community interests were not really. They caught on to it at the last minute. So I decided really in days before to vote no. and actually that was the only bill I voted no on in this crossover because most of the bills have defective dates, so the idea is just to tee them up for future hearings and consideration. So I'd be happy to work. So I'm meeting with some of the community leaders, and I'm going to propose that they use this occasion to have a common voice for community voice, and begin to work with those who want to have housing, so that we do need to be able to find ways to loosen up regulations and other things appropriately, and who better to know what will not harm but help would be the community. So that's anyone that's interested, I'd be working on this.
Great. Thank you, Senator Ihara. Thank you, Rep. Sayama, also for putting up a good fight against that bill.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members? I can't see hands online, so if you have a question, just okay. Questions from community members? Okay, thank you, Senator Ihara. Okay, so this takes us pretty much to the end of our agenda. If you can indulge me for maybe 2 more minutes, I do want to take a quick recess, and if we can confirm that the recording will not be made public when we go on recess, is that correct? Okay, the recording doesn't stop, but when we're in recess, it's not made available publicly, is it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can mute us. We'll recess.
Can't hear you.
Happy birthday, Antifa. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip.
Whose birthday?
Sorry, Logan. Thank you, board members. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's 8:41. We are
We
calling this
didn't
meeting.
hear anything during the break.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's okay. I think Randy didn't hear anything either. We just heard
Okay,
the
so
tail end of a happy birthday song.
Yes, so it is board member Asuega's birthday. So in our board we
Oh,
do
okay. Happy birthday. So I'll
Happy
Yeah.
remember.
birthday. Happy
So we
birthday.
celebrate lives here.
birthday.
So if you let me know when your birthday is, then we can sing to you as well. Against
That's very nice.
Okay.
I really appreciate this. It's really good.
Oh,
yeah, against the wishes of our neighborhood assistant, but it's okay. Okay, so
happy birthday.
okay, with that's the end. So we're gonna adjourn here. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Chair and
Thank you,
board
Chair.
members. Have a
Night.
nice evening. Bye-bye.